As a single mom, I found that it has been most important to simplify, simplify, simplify everything. When I wasn't simplifying everything, I found that instead I felt like I was doing way too much and still feeling behind, never feeling like I caught up. When I tell you that as a single mom, I feel like I'm constantly doing, my constant to-do list never ending. And yet still somehow I am just a wet noodle with nothing left to give at the end of every day. And I didn't want to be that kind of parent when I showed up for my kids. And I didn't want to be that kind of person when I showed up in my relationships and for myself. As a yoga teacher and a yoga teacher trainer, when it came to thinking about the ways that we show up for ourselves, I was all about the philosophy of yoga and how we showed up every day. But then when it came to taking care of myself and taking care of my kids, I was just not cutting the mustard. It doesn't matter how much you know if you're not willing to put those things into action. And so I actually decided that I wanted to take the time to shift my mindset, find rhythms that worked for our family so that we could be more productive and more connected, and that I felt like I could be me. And a few mindset shifts really helped me to show up as a better mom and to feel just lighter. These are the 3 ways that I simplified my life, especially as a single mom, so I could feel more connected, more in control of the day-to-day life, and less like a wet noodle sitting on the couch at the end of the day, not getting things accomplished that I really wanted to get accomplished. The first shift was looking at how I was parenting. I wanted to shift into a more intentional parenting style. And I had done a lot of research and a lot of looking into gentle parenting and a lot of different parenting styles. But for me, it was just a little bit confusing. And what it came back to for me was I wanted to be the kind of parent that I was proud of, that was intentional, and that was present. It didn't matter how many gimmicks or names or things that were thrown at me. I wanted to be the parent that was intentional and present with my kids. For example, bedtime used to feel like some kind of rush to the finish line so that I would have a few minutes on my own. And so I was trying to do all of the rituals and routines that I knew to be good: bath time, teeth brushing, stories, lotion, all these things. But the bottom line was I was rushing to check all of these boxes in order to get those few minutes to myself at the end of the evening. And what was happening was that it wasn't working for my kids. That rushed energy, even though I didn't think it was obvious, was clearly obvious. Then I found that once they went to bed, they were fighting sleep, not able to fall asleep, calling for mom consistently, and I was just getting overstimulated and even more overwhelmed. So something had to change. I recognized that we could not have a set checklist of things that I just had to get accomplished in order to get to bed. Obviously, we make sure to brush our teeth and take a bath and all of those things, but everything else I kind of wanted to shift to whether or not we needed to have more energy or get rid of energy in order to unwind. I looked at each of our human design charts, and all of us are generators across the board. Both of my beings are manifesting generators and I'm a generator, so no matter what, we have to get rid of all excess energy in the most productive way as possible. I use my sacral authority to determine what is going to be the best for us as we wind down the evening. Is it a more calm and relaxed cuddling evening, or do we need to get outside, run around, get the energy out? And a lot of times for me, I would utilize my need to get chores done and determine which chores to work on while I'm bonding and connecting with my kids, because they want to help me with the chores, especially when they don't feel connected. We built in tiny 2-minute rituals that were super easy for us and effective for us. For example, Big Bean really loves to play games with me. So on the nights when we feel like we need to connect by playing games, once the baby bean goes down, we spend 30 minutes to an hour playing board games or card games, depending on what my energy level is saying. For Baby Bean, on the other hand, he likes to feel like we're still connected and he doesn't want to feel alone when he goes to bed. So he has a camera that looks like a little robot, and he knows that when the camera has the blue light on, that it's turned on and that mom is there watching. So he feels even more connected and wants a whole ritual and routine around going in, making sure Cammy is turned on. He named him Cammy, and that he says, "Night night, Cammy," and gets in the bed. So much easier if I go through this ritual with him. I had to give up the rigid routine lanes and the check boxes and go with a rhythm that works for us and our energy instead. And what I found is that when I choose connection over control, we have so much better success every night at bedtime. It wins every time. So we're going to shift gears a little bit now and talk about the financial and kind of lifestyle empowerment, because a big part of my overwhelm was not feeling like I had enough energy, enough time, or enough money, especially to go out and feel like we were taking part in some of the fun and normal traditions of being a kid, like birthday parties and holidays. I didn't want my kids to feel like they were missing out or that we were just like being outright rude by showing up to birthday parties or not going to birthday parties, because I didn't feel like I had the energy, the capacity, or the money to buy gifts for kids that I don't even know their parents' names. And social media especially had me all kinds of confused, because they would be showing mom spending hundreds of dollars on buying the whole soccer team, like these cute embroidered cups, Stanley cups with snacks on the inside, one for each kid. And I was like, I am not that. I'm not a naturally great gift giver anyway, but I'm definitely not that kind of gift giver. No shade to the moms who are. But I realized I didn't want to teach my kids to prioritize gift giving over connection and experiences anyway. So instead, we started writing our own cards, letting the people know what we value about having them in our lives. And I love a good book. And I know there are so many books that families don't necessarily know about, because I have benefit of working at the library. So I love gifting books inscribed on the inside with a little message from us, so that they remember forever what we thought about them and how we felt about them and how they made us feel, as well as providing a story that has either a great moral or lesson or just connection to an interesting author that they might not have heard about otherwise. And then for our own family, I thought it was really important to have a list of gift ideas that our family could provide for us for holidays and birthdays, because it's more important for me to show and instill in my boys experiences over gifts. So if someone wants to give us a gift, we've asked for museum memberships, we've asked for national park passes, we've asked for memberships to some of the other places around, and we have a list of things like that we ask, and that way we can have experiences and be like, Grandma got us this really cool Springs Preserve membership this year, so every time we go, we think about Grandma and give her a call, and it's experiences over gifts all day, every day. This allowed me to feel like I could plan for the joyful moments over feeling like I had to spend money every time. And even today, we just got back from going and getting the car washed, and we put on our favorite playlist. Big Bean got to choose this time. We got car snacks and car drinks, and we made it into like a road trip style adventure. And guess what? The kids asked, when are we going to get to do this again? Because when you make connection the priority, you don't have to spend money in order to have an enjoyable weekend, and you can get your chores done. One of the best things that happened for me because of that was I stopped measuring my worth as a mother by how much money I spent, and instead measured my quality of relationship with my kids based on how much connection we could create in any moment, no matter how monotonous or how small. Now I'm getting ready to get into the last shift that I've made. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for sticking around, for getting this far into the video with me. If you found that this is helpful for you at all, it would mean the world to me if you would hit the subscribe and the little bell so that you can get notified the next time I create a video, because my goal is to get up here and share every single Tuesday. And if you could leave a comment down below letting me know what you want to see more of, what was helpful, that would be amazing. Okay, let's get on to the third shift. This one is really about self-leadership and feeling empowered in your life. Managing my own energy was huge, and what was happening was I wasn't managing it at all. In fact, I couldn't tell you a restaurant that I liked or if I truly had a favorite food, because I stopped putting energy towards focusing on me and was just living kind of reactionary. That meant that someone would invite me to do something and I liked the person well enough, so I would say yes and go do it. Not that I don't appreciate the people that were inviting me. It's just that I was never sure if I actually was doing stuff because I enjoyed doing them or if I was just doing it because it was convenient because someone invited me. And to take that another level deeper, I didn't even know what I needed or wanted, let alone what was good for me. I was making terrible choices. And when I was diagnosed as clinically depressed, I wasn't surprised because, like, at that point, I was really feeling kind of numb inside. Living in a constant state of reaction was really putting a damper on my ability to show up as a good mom for my kids. And it was really stopping me from being able to take care of myself and do things that brought me joy because I didn't even know what brought me joy. And being in constant go mode meant that I didn't even know who I was, and I couldn't feel like me because I didn't know who I was. So I took a moment. I used to teach my yoga teacher trainees how to get in the moment and be intentional while you're doing something as simple as putting on a seatbelt, to use habits that we already have to build upon. And so I was like, duh, I can't be teaching this and not practicing it. So now I take 5 minutes when I'm sitting in my car from grabbing my seatbelt, buckling the seatbelt, putting it on, and choosing what podcast or audiobook I'm going to listen to and getting all of that set up while asking myself, how do I feel right now? What do I need today? What energy do I want to bring into the world today? Just a little quick check-in with myself so that I can be intentional about how I drive off before I get into traffic, or, we're driving these vehicles that are considered weapons if not utilized properly. So before getting into the world in this huge vehicle, why not just do a quick 5-minute check-in? Beyond the car situation, I also gave myself permission to start resting. As a generator, it's really hard to recognize that I too need rest. And not only do I need rest, I need the kind of rest that is non-judgmental, guilt-free, and permission to not do anything when I don't have a clear yes or no from my sacral authority. If you're not sure what I mean by that, I'll share more. Let me know down in the comments if you want to hear more about your authority as a generator and or any other human design type. When I gave myself permission to rest intentionally, I also told myself I wasn't allowed to feel guilty about it. Whatever I decided to do in my rest, whether it was scrolling social media, watching TV, or laying around on my bed, journaling or not, or pretending like I was going to journal, I was not allowed to give myself any flack because I was being intentional about choosing to rest. And you know what I learned from sitting in my car for 5 minutes before driving? Sometimes just 2 minutes, let's be honest, and giving myself permission to rest, is that a grounded mom is way more beneficial than a perfect mom. In fact, I must have said this out loud at some point because Big Bean still says anytime anyone uses the word perfect, that's a bad word, and we don't use that here. Listen, I think that self-leadership is all about knowing what you want and need and leading yourself there. Being the kind of leader for yourself that you want to demonstrate for your children and be for your children. But when we're leading ourselves, it's about choosing ourselves gently and kindly, not with harsh discipline and restrictions. I'm not saying not to be disciplined, and we can talk about that another time, but we want to be more intentional about the gentleness that we're leading ourselves with. We don't want a dictator. We just want a gentle leader who's putting us and our wants and needs top priority first and foremost. And as a single mom, if you are feeling like life is too much, I promise you that it can shift and change, and it will. In fact, you are going to love the series that I have coming up, where I'm going to share a series on simplifying single mom life. I'm going to talk about things like creating rhythms that actually work for your human design over routines that work for other people's human design. Parenting by human design and knowing your children's human design so that you can parent them the best way possible for them. Finding fun things to do that are low or no cost at your local libraries or other local areas that you probably have thought about but didn't even consider taking advantage of. And my favorite, what self-care looks like, especially when you have no time. If you want to take smaller, calmer, more intentional steps towards simplifying mom life, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you know when the next episode releases, and know that I'm so glad that you're here. We are building something special, and I love that we're doing it together. That's all for now. Bye-bye.